Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Got a different location today. Um, Filming in the car outside. It's a nice day for February. Um, it's above zero. I think it's 1 degree right now, and we'll take that in the Ottawa Valley. That's great weather for February. So it's overcast and there's not much wind or anything. I even have the car window open here because I was a little bit warm. I keep my hat on because my hair is messy as usual, as you know. Um, can't breathe too much because the computer keeps wobbling as I breathe. Anyway, I wanted to give you sort of a quick review of the next Isaac Asimov work I just finished, Caves of Steel. Now, I reviewed iRobot about a month or so ago, and I loved it. iRobot is a series of short stories, about 8 or 9 of them, I think, and they're kind of semi-attached to each other. You could either read any one of them independently of the others, but they also hang together in a way. Now with the novel series proper, the it's again, I think it's kind of one of those independent, semi-intertwined type deals, like with the short stories. And by my calculations, Caves of Steel is the first of the books. Now, for as much as I liked iRobot, I didn't like this one. It doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to read into the series. Um, what I liked about it, Asimov has a good writing style. It's not very literary. It's very it's quite concrete. It's very dialogue dependent, dialogue driven rather than descriptive or anything like that. Descriptive or impressionistic or whatever. It's dialogue dependent, dialogue driven, and that's also the case with iRobot. You get a sense of his style. The first thing I ever read from Asimov was Foundation, but this was when I was a kid, 15 or 16, and it didn't really appeal to me that much. I didn't get much out of it. Sure, I'm going to read it again someday, but the reason I bring up Foundation is that, according to my memory, Foundation was different in the sense it wasn't. I don't remember it being so dialogue driven. That there's a lot more, say for instance, like talking about science in general and so on. Um, Now, I've read at least half. I can't remember how much. Last winter, I read about half of Isaac Asimov's autobiography, and some of the things that he tells you in it uh, sort of were things that I was thinking about as I read Caves of Steel. And he was just a nonstop writer. Asimov seemed to write all day, every day. Okay, literally. Um, and it's really interesting because doesn't that seem kind of like a never ending conversation in that sense? Just things are constantly flowing out. So perhaps there's less reflection, a very fine, nuanced reflection as you would find in the great psychological novelists, um, than the feel of like a newscaster or something. Someone's constantly describing and talking. You know, think of a Joe Rogan or Tim Pool or somebody like constantly just speaking. Okay. Now this is good for the construction of a story. It keeps the story moving forward, and it's realistic in that sense. Mm, but it's funny how I found that this story was didn't work. Didn't work in the way that iRobot worked. Or maybe he had already explored too much of the theory of the laws of robotics, that he didn't delve into them very much in Caves of Steel, or I just didn't find it very compelling. I didn't find this storyline compelling. It was sort of a detective story, and you can admire it for that to a certain extent, but I didn't find it terribly effective. I didn't find the storyline all that intriguing. I didn't find the stakes compelling. I sympathize very little with the characters. So basically, it's a story about a detective. The main character's a detective, and there's a murder, and he has to solve the murder. Well, he's saddled with a robot detective as his partner, and excuse me, the context is that Earth at the time is very anti-robot, and that the what I call in my little science fiction book, the humans of the diaspora, so the humans that have moved out and formed colonies out away from Earth in different solar systems and so on. These humans are very pro-robot, and the humans on Earth are much more what's the word, Philistine, or whatever the word is that people who are against technology, Luddite, and that's part of the main background here, is that the humans are anti-robot, and that this murder has created sort of political tension between Earth and the whatever you want to call it, the colonies or the whatever. The colonies are more technologically advanced and constitute a real threat to Earth, even though Earth has a greater population. Uh, it's less technologically advanced, so that there's the political stakes here. So imagine, in the sense of some diplomat or ambassador of Russia or China or the United States was murdered, and it's that kind of stakes in that sense. So there's a few reversals and false inferences and all that were meant to potentially keep the story moving and interesting, but I found them weak. I found the science fiction element weak, and I found the drama weak. So I am definitely going to read further in. Like, I don't know what the next one is, Robots of Dawn or something. I can't remember which the next story is, and I'm definitely going to read it up to the point, I suppose, where I have to say, these stories are horrible. I can't read them anymore. But I don't suspect that's the case because I liked Robots so much. But anyway, I didn't enjoy it, and I'm honest with y'all. And I thought I'd pass that on to you. And before I move on to too much else, I've got a few more books on the go, and I've been a bit productive with the writing this week, so I'm happy with that. And I'll try to keep you posted on that progression as well. Anyway, take care, guys. Happy Wednesday and February, and all the best to you. Bye now.